I'm going to say Joe Theismann.
Out of nowhere, you got it.
Booyah! On the day you said I don't know if they'll get any. He gets 5.
Oh, yeah, that's right, baby. It's playoff time. You got to raise your level. Got to get laser focused. Be ready. Take it up to 110%. That's what I did last week.
You did?
Yes, 5 for 5. What's up, man? Chris Simms, Paulie Birdmeister, Chris Simms Unbuttoned. It's the Monday after Week 17. We got the playoffs coming.
You were so good on last week on the Quarterback Jeopardy. Right. It was so unexpected. As I was driving home, I was starting to think maybe there was some kind of conspiracy. Maybe there was some help. Maybe there were some assists.
See, this constant disrespect. One, you're an idiot. You won't get them right. Now you got them right, and you must have cheated. Holy crap.
I'm watching Florio too much. There's always a conspiracy theory with everything he has.
Don't do that. Yes.
Maybe there's something to that.
Yes.
But yeah. Week later, congrats.
Okay, thanks.
No QB Jeopardy today.
No. We got a lot to talk about. But that was good. It was good. And your text messages after were funny, where you were like, I'm proud of you, but yet disappointed.
Little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. So either
Mostly
way.
proud. So how was it yesterday here watching games with everything going on, all the implications?
Always like Week 17, crazy.
Yeah.
Too many 4 o'clock games is crazy, right? So your head's spinning. You're getting ready for a show. We got a little meeting why the games are going on. You're really, you're listening, but you're trying to pay attention to the games. Either way, it was an exciting day. It was a fun day, and I don't think it was too overwhelming. I think at one point I just finally got it down to okay, I know all these games are on, but I'm gonna put the majority of my focus, on these 3 or whatever, to where you felt like, okay, I can handle that instead of trying to watch 7 games at once.
All right, good problem to have.
Yeah,
I always have people say, you really want us to feel bad for you? You're watching football all day long?
Yeah, right, I know.
It can be difficult, though. Okay, Pete has this well mapped out here. We've got themes.
Cool.
And we're getting right into it now. I'm crow hopping into those so they can roll it.
Let's do it.
With a damn okay.
Damn. Okay.
Damn.
There we go.
I'm okay.
Timing was good.
Damn. I'm okay. Yeah, no, yes. I'm okay. The legal gambleizing. Oh, baby. I am Chris Simms. I'm okay. Damn. Okay.
Extended version once again. Playoff version. This is the AFC Wild Card Edition.
Booyah.
All caps as laid out here by Pete. Out of respect. Remember in Goodfellas, one thing happened. He's like, you want to know why? It was out of respect. Yeah. Out of respect for Cleveland not having been to the playoffs since 2002.
Yes.
Let's start there. They knock off the Steelers 24-22, and they are in the postseason.
Yeah, awesome. Great for Cleveland. Wasn't easy yesterday, as you know. I think the big thing with that, I had a lot of friends text me like, oh, man, if we could barely win against Pittsburgh, because I got a few Browns friends or people from Cleveland, if we could barely beat Pittsburgh when they don't have Big Ben and some of those guys out, how are we going to beat them next week? Listen, it's not just, apples to apples necessarily. Hey, Pittsburgh did get to go out and just play free and not, loose, have no pressure. There is something to that. There's no doubt about it. I always say in these type of games, really, the desperation factor doesn't come into play until the game really gets put in the balance late in the game, and then that team that's in the must-win situation can usually dig a little deeper in those situations to pull out the football game. Mm-hmm. But if that team that's got no pressure and it's all going good and it's all going uphill and smooth, they can feed off that energy and be dangerous. But either way, it was a very impressive win for the Browns. The pressure was on them, definitely. They had a lot of obstacles to overcome once again during the week. They got a lot of players that were missing in that game yesterday. It doesn't make me think differently about the matchup coming up this week in the wild card game. They can still win that football game. But I think between Nick Chubb, what you saw there, sure, the defense was not at its best. But I think the other thing, too, is just Baker. Baker, at a few of the throws and scrambles he made in the football game were big time. It's not always about consistency. Sometimes it's just about who's going to make the big play in the big moment. And I thought Baker really did that for the most part of the day with some scrambles and some other off-schedule throws where I went, that's why you picked that guy number 1. Way to go, Cleveland.
And it wasn't just a one-off thing that's happened yesterday, the last couple of weeks. It's been the last few weeks, going all the way back into, I think, mid-November.
Yes.
Best thing you saw from him yesterday?
I think it is the scrambling, the backyard aspect of his football game.
He's found a way to kind of maintain that while they're still doing a lot of very strategic play action setup.
No doubt.
There,
You're right, but I think it's all about the comfort that we've talked about with him just feeling comfortable within the offense, what the coach is asking with that certain play call. And now he's back to playing football again. So, okay, wait, Stefanski didn't call the right play. All right, no big deal. I can make a play happen to help the team out in this situation, keep us on the field on a third down or extend a drive or do anything like that. I think that's what really that jumped out to me. And a few of the scrambles were in big moments of the football game where they needed a little juice, a little jump start there. So that was cool to see, definitely. But I do think, again, Cleveland was missing some secondary people. It'll be a fun matchup this week coming in the game. I don't think it's 24-9. Yeah. They had him in 4th and 11, and they threw a jump ball to Chase Claypool for a touchdown.
Right.
If he doesn't catch that ball, and let's say Denzel Ward's there next week covering him because he wasn't there yesterday, I don't know what happens. And that game could have looked a lot differently. I give Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin credit, but good for Cleveland. Amazing.
I don't want to get too much away from what we're doing here on this Monday. Just looking back at the biggest storylines from yesterday. And I know you're going to get into deep dives on Wednesday with the playoff previews, but just kicking the tires a little bit, one question about the game coming up this weekend in Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Let's say one of your Cleveland friends say, hey, give me the biggest reason to believe it's going to be different than it was when it was 38-7.
Right, sure.
What's your response?
My response is that was still a Cleveland team that was they were still finding themselves, in the process of finding and figuring out who they were. They were still a little stuck in the, whoa, we got Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield, and we want to spread and throw the ball because you can't match up with us. And they're not that way anymore.
Right.
Now they're like, hey, you, we're going to run the ball, and we're going to run bootlegs. And then if we got to, okay, we'll drop back and pass or put Baker in the shotgun, and he'll make some plays off of that too. But I think that's the big difference. They, after that Pittsburgh game, became a team that basically said, oh, you're loading the box to stop the run? Doesn't matter. We're still going to run it, and we're going to dominate you in the run game that way. And I just think they've been a better team ever since that matchup the first time around.
As long as we're talking AFC North, nice job of mentioning run game a couple times. Let's get on to the Ravens.
Right.
They beat the Bengals, who looked like they didn't want to be there, 38-3. How about 404 rushing yards? We could do this for 10 more years, and I might not get to say that again.
It's like an easy 400. That's what's scary. Like an easy. Like where I'm watching the film back, and I'm sitting there because I watch some of these run plays just to go like, what did they exactly do to gash the Cincinnati Bengals like this? To where, they rip off so many 10 and 15 and 20-yard runs that the drive gets over, and you go, oh, that was a pretty good drive, and then you go, man, I wonder what they rush for in that drive. And you go back and you tally it up, and you're like, holy crap, okay, it was 6 rushes for 80 yards in that drive. It didn't seem like it, but it was. Like, it's just unbelievable. Those 3 guys right there, it is an amazing combination. J.K. Dobbins got a little power and game-breaking speed like we saw. Gus Edwards got a little game-breaking speed, but a lot of power. And then you got Lamar Jackson, who's got the quickest feet you'll ever see and is faster than both of them in the straightaway field. And, Paul, it got in, 2 things I saw. First off, Lamar threw the ball pretty well. I think that's worth noting. Secondly, I saw some marrying of some of the run plays with play action, which I've been calling for a little bit from the Baltimore Ravens. But at the end of the day, the bread and butter for Baltimore right now that nobody seems to have an answer for the last few weeks is whether it's the double pulling backside offensive lineman concept. And what they're doing off of that is consistently gashing people right now. I mean, I think there was only really one big run in the game, and that might have been J.K. Dobbins' 72-yard run. That wasn't a pulling guard. It was kind of an inside zone type of play. But all the other 10, 15, 20-yard runs were block down, big guy coming around, another big guy coming around, and then there's either Lamar or the tailback following them.
Right.
And what they always do, and we've talked about this, is they have a great changeup in, okay, if you overplay that, then somebody will keep it out the back door. And they usually gash you with that and have the right feel of when teams are overplaying.
Is anybody else in the league doing that in the run game?
They are. It's definitely becoming more and more of a thing. I've seen Taysom Hill and the Saints do it. The Eagles certainly had done it with Jalen Hurts the last few weeks. I'm probably missing a few other teams that are doing that, but
they're not the only ones.
They are not the only ones, but they are the best at it. And that, for the most part, is just what absolutely gashed Cincinnati.
Things have changed. I don't want to say in a hurry because it's over the course of 4 or 5 weeks, but things have changed for Baltimore. They'd lost 3 in a row. They'd lost 4 out of 5. Now they have 5 wins in a row. Lamar's running a lot more than he was. He's throwing it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Let's compare how you feel about this Ravens team on a 5-game win streak compared to the one last year that went to the postseason on a 12-game win streak.
Yeah, I think, last year, listen, they were the undisputed heavyweight champs of the NFL, where they went into the playoffs and you just went, I just can't imagine anybody but Kansas City really giving them issues. But we still had the questions of, man, it was easy for them last year. They really had no meaningful games in the month of December.
Exactly.
They sat out week 17 and then had the bye week and then played the playoff game and got punched in the mouth and were like, oh no, it's a playoff game. And of course coming off the year before where they lost the playoff game to the Chargers. I think the encouraging thing for them right now is it's been playoff mode for 5 weeks in a row. It's been, so whether you want to talk about, whoa, Lamar Jackson's never won a playoff game. Yeah, okay, I get it. But these have been de facto playoff games here down the stretch. If they lost, they weren't going to get in, or they had very little wiggle room. So they've had to approach it that way. And I think that will lessen the storyline of Lamar Jackson not winning a playoff game going into this game this week. And I wouldn't want to mess with them. They're healthy on defense. They've gotten back totally 100% healthy. The O-line has got its game going on. They are dominating. The running backs, like we just talked about, they're unbelievable. And Lamar and the passing game, it's still not special or anything good. But like I've said for a number of weeks, they're trying to a little bit more of a concerted effort to tie the run game with the pass game. I think they're trying to be a little more aggressive with throwing the ball down the field to a Miles Boykin or a Hollywood Brown. And I think that's encouraging. And Lamar just has a great feel, too, of, okay, drop back. All right, I'll sit here in the pocket and wait for somebody to come open. But he knows when to abandon ship. Okay, abandon ship. Nobody's open. Let me get the hell out of here and make a run. And he's on fire right now.
It kind of feels like the Ravens offense and Lamar this year, they are right now more comfortable in their own skin than they have been the entire year. More comfortable with what makes them really, really good. And they were there all of last year. But it just feels like he's running in a more free way. And the passing game, which just like Seattle's defense, doesn't need to be an A in Baltimore. If it's a C+ with how well they're running it and how well the offensive line is playing, then they're a real problem this next month.
It's good enough. Exactly right. That's really it is. Because it always comes down to a good offense and, everything you're talking about defending the whole field. And that was probably the one aspect that was missing. Down the field throwing, whether that's down the middle, deep outs, things like that. But we're seeing more of that. And really, could have been more yesterday. He threw a nice post route to Hollywood Brown, who dropped it at one point down the field. He should have bigger stats. But I don't care about the stats as far as the numbers, the amount of completions, it's all that. To me, a little bit that gets, lost is the effectiveness of the pass game. And Baltimore's pass game is effective enough. And it makes enough plays to where, you can't disregard it. You got to respect it because it will change field position, or somebody will go down the middle of the field for a touchdown and you'll be like, oh, well, there goes 6 because we overplayed the run.
You said in 2 words what I tried to sum up in a few seconds, effective enough.
Yes.
And that's exactly what they need right now with how well they're running the ball. I do want to give a little more credit or point out to Lamar passing the ball, or that passing game working better than it was a few weeks ago. Let's take a look here. We've got a look at Lamar to Miles Boykin, 43-yard touchdown. Describe what we're seeing here.
Well, it's basically a double post concept. You got on the right side, and let's rewind it and don't start it if you can. Just pause it at the start. At the right side there, he's just got a single cut with Hollywood Brown. So if he had like man-to-man coverage, he could just throw that out there and play one-to-one. But this play is specifically for this coverage. It's quarters coverage here. So they're hoping that the inside slot receiver is going to take, the safety away, and then now that outside corner is going to be one-on-one with Miles Boykin. The other thing that's important here, check out, again, Paul, they got 42 Richard on the right there in the slot. He's going to come in motion, and they're going to fake it to make it look like their little inside zone cutback play, which I like. So go ahead and play that, Pete, if you can. So there you go. Fake the inside zone. He looks down the middle of the field, which I believe was Mark Andrews. He gets the safety and everybody to follow him a little bit, just enough to where he can then go, oh, I got Miles Boykin deep one-on-one against this corner here. And Von Bell by that time is 2 out of position and chasing. And this is really not Von Bell's fault. It's the perfect play versus the perfect coverage, and a defense that's trying to play 2 deep safeties, but cover 4 is also a little bit of a, hey, it's too deep, but we're going to let our safeties come downhill and be aggressive to stop the run too, and they just got caught.
Well, Ravens win big 38-3. They'll take on the Titans. We'll talk more about the Titans here in a little bit. That game coming up Sunday. It's the early game in Nashville. Moving on to Buffalo and their victory over the Dolphins. And it's awesome the way Baltimore ran against Cincinnati, but Cincinnati played like they didn't really want to be there. Miami had the number 1 scoring defense in the league. They had to win to get in the playoffs, and Buffalo goes for 56 points. How'd that happen?
To me, it's one of the most impressive things on football yesterday. And to me, it's going a little under the radar, like where I want to be like, wait, the number 1 scoring defense in football got quadrupled yesterday.
I'd rate it number 1 as most impressive.
I agree. I mean, Pete will tell you, one of the things I said on the text last night when we were figuring it out, I said, well, we got to talk about the Bills' offense. That's got to be up there. Like, this defense, even though the Dolphins, they've let up yards in between the 30s, they don't let people score. And this, to me, is just where, hey, guys, the Bills are hot as hell.
Yeah.
There's just no other way to say it. They are almost at the unstoppable point on their offensive side of the ball. They really are. They have everything. They have a scheme that can deliver, and then they have playmakers that can just make plays, and then they got a quarterback who can dissect you and make plays off schedule too, let alone enough of a running game. But that was shocking to me yesterday.
Yeah.
It really was. And especially the early turnover. He throws the interception. You go, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
They're going to kind of be, relaxing because they're in, and they're going to let them hang around. And that wasn't the case. You know, he corrected himself. And, Flores, I watched, of course, this back on film. Flores tried to change coverages. You got to be careful, just like Kansas City. You can't play in the face, bump and run against Buffalo every play. Not with this cast of characters. And this guy throwing the football, forget about it. They'll make you look silly. So he tried to give some bastard looks of like, hey, we're man-to-man, we're in your face. Whoa, we drop into zone.
Didn't work.
And he tried to change coverages up. And it gave Buffalo some issues early because there were some false keys. I think he thought like, oh, wait, the corners are over. There's 3 receivers over there playing man-to-man.
Right.
Flores is smart, and he knows Daboll, and Daboll's been in New England. So then they drop back in 3 deep. And it's like, oh, man, it's not man. We had a man-to-man play, and now they're playing zone.
Right.
Buffalo got back on track like they do a lot of the times, where they stopped worrying about calling the perfect play to just absolutely annihilate defenses. They got into just like, let's get in some all-purpose plays. Let's get it out of his hand quick. Yeah. And then that'll make them start playing a little bit more normal defenses, and then they take advantage of it.
It's underrated for how much that helps the quarterback, even an MVP caliber quarterback like Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to worry about being in that perfect play.
Right.
Gains that confidence all week. Hey, this is going to work no matter what.
Exactly right.
Just run it. So after Josh Allen's pure talent and how hot he is right now, if you're going to rate something second as to why they win in the 50s against Miami, more all the talent they have out wide or more the Daboll scheme yesterday?
That is a really close. I mean, Daboll's scheme, to me, is one of the best in football. And that's why, I'm a huge fan of him, and we'll talk about him later on here on the show when we talk about some of the firings going on in the NFL, where I'm going to inject his name once again, especially to a place I like. It's really, of course, the combination of both, because he knows how to use the weapons and everything like that. But I think, the weaponry, of course, it accentuates the offense. I mean, when you have John Brown and McKenzie, and of course, Stephon Diggs.
McKenzie, it's not a name that we've been throwing around a lot this year.
I know.
Because 3 touchdowns.
He's, another guy got a rocket up his butt. Cole Beasley's hurt.
Yeah.
He can do a little bit of everything. He's kind of like their McCole Hardman, like the Kansas City, speed sweeps, punt return. We don't get you in to run all the routes on the route tree, but we have a few plays for you every game because you're dangerous.
Yeah.
But I just can't say enough about the Buffalo Bills, what they look like as a football team, how they've transformed. They are definitely one of the 2 or 3 best teams in football going into the playoffs.
2 or 3, I mean.
Maybe 2.
2 or 2 better.
Maybe 1. I don't know. You're right.
Kansas City better, maybe?
Maybe. I'd probably take Kansas City if they were going to play tomorrow and you made me bet on the game, right? I'd go, okay. I don't feel great about this, but I'm going to go.
I bet you might pick Buffalo. If that was really happening, I get the feeling that Buffalo would be your heartfelt pick.
Buffalo, Buffalo, with everything in my brain and my heart, tells me they're playing better football than Kansas City right now. But Kansas City has just an it factor. They're still Kansas City, where I just go, you can never count them out.
Right.
But just so impressive on both sides of the football. And it's going to take a special defense to stop this Buffalo offense.
And I have the question because they're playing against the Colts this weekend. At RV5618 says, have the Colts got any chance of stopping Allen, Diggs, and Daboll?
I don't think so. I don't. You know, I'm down on the Colts defense over the last month or so.
It's shifted for the worse, hasn't it?
It is. It's just a good defense. It's not a great defense. And, you know, they don't have great cover corners to play man-to-man, which I think will make them reluctant to blitz. And, you know, the one thing is Josh Allen, like Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and even Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson, you know, they wear out defenses because of all their movement and the buying of time. And, I mean, how many times yesterday did Josh Allen sit in the pocket and, okay, wait, oh, nothing's there. Okay, let me move and move. Hey, you go this way. Oh, wait, nothing's there. Okay, hey, go that way. Move, move, move. Oh, touchdown. And just think about that as a pass rusher or a coverage guy. You're running a wind sprint for 12 seconds. Like, that's not easy. You do that 5 or 6 or 10 times a game, your ass is going to be dead in the fourth quarter.
Right.
You know, and that's where I've had a worries about the Colts. When their pass rush and things die out as the game goes along, man, their defense bleeds, and I don't know. We'll see. They're going to have to do something off the cuff or something to give them some sort of schematical advantage, because if they just play straight up, there's no way.
Can you think of something that's worked against the Bills recently? Because they've won 9 out of 10 since they lost to, I think it was Tennessee, Kansas City back-to-back weeks.
Right. Well, and they lost the failed Murray, right? That's the last time they've lost.
And they're averaging 47 points per game their last 3. So anything at all recently that a team, Indianapolis, can latch onto and say, hey, this gave them a hard time. Maybe we go with more of this.
No, I mean, I honestly, I looked through the winning streak, the team that played them the toughest, I thought, on the defensive side of the ball was the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
And that was because, of course, they have a good front four. They also would rush 5 just to take away Allen's ability, and they found some creative ways to rush 5. And they can cover pretty well on the back end. You're going to have a group that you can, 20, 25 times a game going to go, I need you to play man-to-man. Because I got to take a chance here somewhere to get Allen or make a negative play.
And that worries you for the Colts?
Well, it worries me because their cover corners are not those type of guys, and that does concern me.
Can you think of a group in the NFL that was improved more through the draft? And I'm thinking using a first-round pick to get Diggs, fourth-round pick to get Davis, than what the Bills did with that group of pass catchers?
No.
It's really fun to watch.
It is really fun. Everything they did, it ended up being what I thought they were early in the year. I went into the season going, the Bills won the offseason between the draft and free agency. And, of course, the year started out and you went, whoa, the defense is not what I thought it was going to be. But it ended up being what I thought it was going to be. And that's where I got to give Leslie Frazier and McDermott a lot of credit. What they did to the Miami offense yesterday, hey, no chance. And, listen, I know this won't be the last time, but we're going to end up – Tua's going to be a conversation going into the offseason. I mean, there's no doubt. How can you feel real warm and cozy if you're a Dolphins fan or in the Dolphins organization about what you saw from Tua this last half of the season?
I don't think you can.
No.
And people on the inside feel the same way, and they played so well for most of this year with the exception of yesterday. That whole group will be there. The administration will be there. So the same group that brought him in and believed in him enough to take him that high, they're going to have to be the ones that evaluate, okay, how comfortable are we? How confident are we moving forward with this?
No, I know. I think it's some real questions there. Again, the kid's a great kid. It's not personal. It's all about football here. We're talking business. But I just don't know what you can look at right now and just go, he doesn't pass the eye test. That's all I'm saying. As of right now, that could change. But I'm just saying, I said this on the show this morning, I'll say it one more time. He was not in the same stratosphere as Herbert or Burrow this year as a player on the football field. Nor did he even come close to passing the look test at which they did either. So that's what's concerning to me. And, this is a handful of times in the second half of the year, too, where we get in a game where we just go, Tua, forget scoring a touch. They can't do anything. And that's where it's going to be concerning when they evaluate to go, We have moments where we can't score points. We have to take him out of the game for Ryan Fitzpatrick, and they didn't have that luxury yesterday. And I think that made it more apparent yesterday.
Happened at Denver, maybe.
Denver,
recently.
right? Denver and the Raiders. We've had it.
I'm just thinking of ways to push back and play the other side, because maybe there are people within the organization who still feel really, really good about him. I'm sure there are fans out there as well. If you wanted to say, hey, they were in this position in Miami to win on the last game and you're in. So he was a part of that. He took care of the ball pretty well.
He definitely did.
His efficiency was pretty good.
He can be developed.
And it is a small sample size.
Exactly right. I don't want to rush to judgment. I'm not. I'm just trying to be real with you about, I think there's going to be those conversations that go on in the organization. And I think that stigma is going to be over his head this whole offseason until he kind of proves us wrong. But it's not the end of the line or anything like that. Yes, we're still in a developmental phase. And, again, the other thing, as great as it is from coming from Alabama, where you get taught and coached by like a pro and you know all those things, there is a problem sometimes from coming from Alabama too. The game was so easy that now you're like, wait, I'm not used to this. We usually it's 42-0 in the third quarter. I have to make a tight throw in the fourth. And
I just called their game this weekend and watched the guy who's filling in for him or took over for him, Mac Jones.
And they're doing okay on offense.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a hint last year when he came in and the offense did miss a beat. But he's really, really, really good. That offense is clicking along, maybe even a little better than it did.
I know
last year with him. And I think it's tough too that this was his last game, and you have Josh Allen, who's also a young quarterback. You look at that and you're like, boy, is he 10 starts away from looking that good?
Right.
Or as good as Joe Burrow looked this year, or Justin Herbert.
Herbert throwing lasers around yesterday.
It doesn't just live in a bubble. I think all those comparisons are going to come in too.
No, I agreed. So we'll see where that goes. Interesting storyline. The bottom line is Buffalo's on fire.
Yes.
They're one of the best teams in football. And it is going to take a special defense, in my opinion, to slow this group down right now, or a really special offense just to go, okay, we'll get in the shootout, and we think we can do that. And I think there's only one in football that can do that right now.
We talked a little bit about the Indy defense. We'll hit their offense here in just a little bit. Time to take it up to 100, presented by Head and Shoulders. And actually, it's a little bit misleading because it's not just 100, it's 200 and also 2,000 total. Derrick Henry, 34 carries, 250 rushing yards, a couple of touchdowns in the win at Houston.
Crazy. Yeah, crazy. I mean, hello, Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, we'll see you in, 15 years. Okay, it's like official, and it's just like, hello, are we going to be one of the 3 greatest running backs of all time, the 5 greatest running backs of all time? It's legendary status.
In line with that first player to lead the NFL in rushing back-to-back seasons. LT did it back in 06 and 07.
LaDainian,
like this,
right?
Not only is it special to hit 2,000 yards, it's rare to do this back-to-back. Not the 2,000 back-to-back, but to lead the league 2 years in a row.
I mean, listen, I don't know if Pete can look this up as we're talking here because I'm Johnny Historian, but LaDainian, Emmitt Smith in the early 90s.
Barry Sanders, maybe?
Maybe. I think he might have had one later in his career. I think you're right, like 96, 97.
He's looking.
Right. I think Earl Campbell in the 70s and Jim Brown. And that's all. It's a very short list in the history of football. Edgerrin James.
Yeah.
There's a good one. Okay. Barry Sanders,
96, 97, Barry Sanders, yeah. Emmett did it 3 years in a row.
Okay.
Wow.
That's shocking.
Okay.
And Eric Dickerson, Earl Campbell, right? OJ. Okay, so there you go. So that's welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Incredible company.
Yeah, welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Annihilation. The thing I'm amazed by with them up front, I'm never like, well, that was an interesting game design run play.
Right.
It's the same 3 run plays almost every time.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't matter. First off, his vision is off the charts. When I watch a game back, the whole year, I could probably tell you like 2 or 3 plays where I go, why did he cut that way? He should have gone that way. But other than else, he makes cuts where I go, damn, how did he see that?
Right.
How did he make that cut there? How did he go up into a mosh pit of people and have the feel of like, wait, they lost the edge on the right side. Let me bounce it out now and run out there. That's where he has an incredible knack to me, let alone his physical ability.
It doesn't look like he's going that fast on TV.
That's my little boy last night. It was just like, Dad, how come nobody catch him?
Right.
And I go, because he's really fast.
Yeah.
I'll still can remember Sports Science, John Bumpus or Brinkus or
I can picture him.
You know what I'm talking about, right? He still has all the records on there.
Does he?
Everything.
Yeah.
Power output, explosiveness, everything.
John Brinkus.
That was it. John Brinkus. Yeah, sorry, John Brinkus. I don't mean to disrespect, but it really is. It's those type of runs. It's inside zone cutback. It's outside zone. It's a few, hey, everybody block a man. I'm going to follow the fullback in the hole. And then they do the old, hey, just get body on body. And he runs up the middle. And if there's a little alley to run, he hits it. If he feels like, oh, man, they've all mashed it inside, he just has a great ability to go, wait, let me put on the brakes. And then we go outside. And he outruns people that he shouldn't outrun to the edge. It's just, it's amazing that way.
And it's hard not to bring this up because it's so central to what the Ravens have to be thinking about right now, playing against Tennessee. 30 for 195 in the playoffs last year. And this season, late November, he went for 133.
Yeah.
So we can praise him up and down for what he did this season. And yesterday, he deserves it. But at some point, you got to get right to, is it going to be more the same this weekend?
It's really one of the worst matchups for Baltimore.
Right.
It really is, because now Baltimore's run defense is not as good as I think they've wanted it to be in years past. They did a pretty good job the first time around.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that game went into overtime, and Henry had a long run there that got him over 100 in overtime. But regardless, you're still got to worry about stopping Henry, and now you're leaving yourself on an island with A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, which is scary.
Right,
and they're good at taking shots, this team.
Yeah.
So that's where it's going to be interesting to watch as we go along. Plus, here's the other thing with Tennessee. And this just tells you where they're a little different from last year to this year, Paul. It's 31-28.
Yeah.
It's 4th and 11 on the 38-yard line.
Yeah.
They go for it, up by 3. That just tells you how bad Mike Vrabel thinks his defense is. That he's just going, Deshaun Watson's going to score.
Yeah.
So we might as well just try to score.
Yeah.
And not waste too much time, because if they get the ball back, okay, great. They'll go down and score, then we can get it back and have time.
Right.
I mean, that's where it's got. Their defense is so freaking bad right now. It is unbelievable. But their offense, as we know, is special.
You bring up Deshaun Watson. Let's have a little mini after the real damn okay about Deshaun. B. Will 1990 says, damn okay Deshaun Watson with all the issues he endured this year. Still led the league in passing yards.
I mean,
worth the price of admission.
Worth the price of admission.
Bad team, right?
Definitely. One of the 5 or 6 best quarterbacks in football. No doubt. I don't give a shit if they went 0 for 16 this year. He kept them in every football game. And just like yesterday, he does everything possible to win the game. He can't cover and block people and, snap the ball and do all. He can't do everything.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. I've loved that he's had this year in a lot of ways, because it's undeniable how good he is. And it's given me the jump-off point in a few radio conversations to go, see, it's not all about the quarterback.
Right.
You got to have a team.
Yeah.
Everyone watches this guy and goes, he's one of the 5 best. And it doesn't mean your team goes 12-4. You got to help him out a little. Literally, the last 3 weeks has just been like, okay, when's Watson going to throw to Brandon Cooks? When's Watson going to throw to Brandon Cooks? Oh, they know he's going to throw to him. He's still going to hit him. He's amazing. He's amazing. I love watching him play.
We'll talk more about some of the coaches that were let go today, but since we're talking about Houston, because of Deshaun Watson, do you think that is the most attractive job?
I think that and the Chargers one are right up there with it. I think they're both extremely attractive at the quarterback. Deshaun may be a hair more attractive than Herbert right now just because he's proven.
Yep.
But the Chargers do have less holes to fill than the Houston Texans. So that's where it's close. But I think clearly those are the 2 top spots right now for sure.
All right. And again, more on the coaches and the openings coming up here in a little bit. That was Take It Up to 100, presented by Head & Shoulders, available at Walmart. We have another soundful preview here. This is Victory Lap. I didn't know we had sound for Victory Lap. Is this new?
I don't know. I can't remember anymore.
All right, Pete, hit it.
Oh, I do remember it.
Oh, yes, we do. Yeah, how can I forget that?
Victory!
Very NFL film.
It is.
Like, Victory is ours! All right, Rookies Edition. Pete's leading us down the rookie path.
Okay.
Colts 28, Jags 14, so Indianapolis is in. We talked about their game against Buffalo a little bit. But the rookie hook here, obviously, Jonathan Taylor, 30 carries for 253.
My man.
Right there with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some special traits. Again, he's on fire here as of late. They're playing certain points of games here the right style of football. They need to run the football. We've talked about this a lot. He's a special game-breaking runner. He was great yesterday. They had some cool game design runs, but again, you see the power combination, speed combination this kid has. I mean, he can fly. You know, there's you know, that's why he ran 4.39. But, you know, just yes, a specimen, but I think the biggest thing that jumps off to me again for maybe like the third, fourth week in a row where I just go, when the Colts play through the run and play through Jonathan Taylor, they're a much more dangerous team than we play with, Phillip Rivers patting the ball in the pocket, just we're waiting for a disaster to happen. That is the biggest thing. They got to continue to play this way. We've talked about their defense not being as dominant. The running game will help them out, and it's going to help Phillip Rivers out. Listen, you can't ask Phillip Rivers to drop back and throw the ball 40 times and have him sit in the pocket and do things. It's just going to lead to bad things. I'm sorry. You know, he has his limitations at this point of his career. There's still a lot of good, and they can win with him. But what we've seen throughout the year is when you have to rely on him and just him, it can be dicey. Yeah. And that's where it gets scary. And that's where they hit a lull in the football game.
Right.
They hit a little lull at every point of the game here recently where I just think they get a little too cute and a little too pass happy.
Yeah.
Where I just don't go, I want to go, wait, we've been running the ball, and now we came out and we've thrown the ball 3 straight plays, or we ran the ball once for a first down, and now we throw the ball 4 straight plays after that, or whatever, and you just go, I don't get that.
And Pete just told me, say that one more time, Pete, about what Jonathan Taylor's done. Last 7 games, only Derrick Henry has more rushing yards, than Jonathan Taylor. And I think back to when Phillip Rivers has been at his best. I thought about how you kind of described it and how they need to have more Jonathan Taylor to make him better. Remember that big win against the Packers? I mean, that was maybe their signature win.
I think so.
Along with beating Tennessee.
Right.
He had 22 carries in that win against the Packers. And thinking back on it, it just felt like the right mix to make what's really good about Phillip still even better.
Yeah, it helps Phillip in the fact that it delivers him some easier completions because you got to play different on defense. It opens up the play action pass game again where he can just play action, boom, read it, throw it. You know, it leads to easy short completions when they do that. You know, that's one of the things I wrote. I just wrote, like with the Colts, it should be simple. Run the ball, play action pass, quick throws. That's when they're at their best. That's when Rivers is at his best. When he starts patting the ball in the pocket, trouble's coming. It's coming. And you know, and again, his arm in those situations is not going to make big throws. Just like yesterday, it's 20-14, and you go, okay, here they go. They're going to mount a drive. He's got a post route to T.Y. Hilton. He's wide open. It's a touchdown. It's just the ball hangs in the air forever. The backside corner comes from way far away to intercept it. Because the ball hangs in the air, it was probably about 2 or 3 yards shorter than where you'd like it to be. And that's where I think it just gets a little scary. To me, this is where, like to your point, they're in a little win streak right now, and they play better when they play through the run.
They've won 4 of the last 5. Even though it feels to me like in the AFC, they're the team being talked about the least by far.
Yes.
You look at the other teams that are in from the AFC, storylines everywhere, and you get to Indy, and there's just not a lot of buzz about it.
No, I agreed. I think the big thing is, you know, there's not one dominant area of their football team anymore that excites everybody.
Yeah.
So, to me, where I thought maybe the defense was that, like week 8 or 9,
right, it was
that kind of fizzled away. And now you go, okay, so there's a lot of good on the team, but is there anything great? And then, you know, you blow a lead to Pittsburgh, who is struggling, and you get blown out at home against the Tennessee Titans, and that'll lead people to go, you're good, but we don't think you're that good.
And you have to play at Buffalo.
And you got to play the hottest team in football right now. Right.
Okay. Rookies edition
They better
continues.
run the ball, though.
Right?
This week especially.
The guy's hot.
And, they're hot, and they have
– keep it away from Josh Allen.
Right. They got a really good interior offensive line. You know, I know they're missing Costanzo, but everything else is the same. And they're damn good. They need to play. That's their bread and butter. Sorry.
Justin Jefferson. No, it's okay. We transition here to the NFC North. Vikings beat the Lions 37-35. Another big game for Jefferson out of LSU, 9 for 133.
I just
almost don't want to say expected, but I mean, we've seen this before.
It's almost is expected.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost, I feel like every week it's around this number in the stat line, and it's never like just a bunch of chump catches or bullcrap catches.
Right.
It's everything down the field, route running, contested catches. I can't sit here and lie to you and tell you that I watched a lot of this football game yesterday. I mean, sorry, Minnesota and Detroit. There was no meaning. And I had other games that were more important to watch.
I had better things to do.
But I will say I give a lot of credit. Zimmer, Kirk Cousins, that offense had a pretty special year. I think it ended up as a top 5 offense in football.
Jefferson's second most yards all time for a rookie?
I mean,
wow.
That's insane.
Receiving yards.
Yeah. I mean, and he's got it all. They found themselves a superstar there that they can build around in the pass game.
Pete, that was behind who? One more time? Bill Groman.
Wow.
1960
Good
Oilers.
Old Bill Groman. I'm a history buff, but I don't know that one. I'm sorry.
The Oilers were wearing those silver helmets with the old logo
on it.
They
did, right.
Way back when. Okay,
way to go, Justin Jefferson.
Another Justin Herbert, 302, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Exactly what we've seen pretty much all season from him.
It is. Again, same kind of thing here. I'm not going to sit here and lie to the Chargers nation and tell you I was glued to the TV, all right? But
they did beat the Chiefs by 17.
They did beat the Chiefs by 17.
A compromised Chiefs team.
Well, and every time I turned around, it was just, another perfect throw by Justin Herbert that was flying through the air. I mean, that's all I can really say. The guy never loses control of the football. He can throw the ball with power through coverages where defenders are like, well, he's not going to make this throw, or he can't get this in there. Whoa, he got it in there. He can throw over the defense. And listen, that's a rare thing. This is something like my dad talks about a lot. This is really his thing, where he can throw. He's so big, he throws over the D-line. So there again, where we go, size is overrated and all that. Okay, yeah, it can be overrated, but there is a skill to it that's a precious skill. And he can have, like yesterday, there's a few times he's got people all up in his chest and stuff, and he can raise his arm up and still go, huh, and throw the ball 15 yards, and you just go, man, like I know that doesn't look sexy to everybody, but me as Johnny quarterback, I go,
right?
That's like not that easy.
Right.
And the smaller quarterback wouldn't have been able to do that. And I'm not trying to disrespect the smaller quarterback. It's just this is one of his attributes.
Those quarterbacks who are 6 feet-ish, Drew, Russell Wilson, they can find lanes. But they can't do what Herbert does. Throwing over the defensive line.
Throwing over the defense, people all around him. Right. I mean, Brady can do that, and Brady was phenomenal in his prime because he'd hang in there and take the shot, whatever. But yeah, it's kind of a rare thing in this day and age in the NFL because of like what you said. Even the bigger quarterbacks this day and age look for lanes. They don't look to throw over the top as much as they used to.
Thinking about Justin Herbert, that brings us to the unfortunate part, Black Monday. Not a lot of surprises here. We kind of knew what was coming with the coaches being fired. Anthony Lynn of the Chargers, he's out. Doug Marrone with the Jaguars is out. And Adam Gase fired by the Jets as well. So Chargers, Jaguars, Jets. Quarterback issues with all of them except for the Chargers. They have Justin Herbert. But if you take the Jaguars job, you got the number 1 pick. You can get Trevor Lawrence if you would like. The Jets have the number 2 pick. Which of those 3 jobs would you like to have the most?
I want the Chargers job. I mean, again, Trevor Lawrence, I'm a huge fan. I'm not going to sit here and tell you right now that I think he's definitely going to be better than Justin Herbert. I don't know that. They're very similar people, and
head start on one of the questions I'm getting at you as soon as the Super Bowl's over. You have Herbert and Burrow and Lawrence in the same class. How would you rank them?
I know.
You can just think about it now.
Yeah, well, I want to evaluate. But you're right. I'm sure I will.
Because it might be third.
Well, because it might be. I mean, there's no joke. I don't know where that goes. It's going to be interesting. Trevor Lawrence is awesome. We know that. Is it a little blown out of proportion? Yes, because he's Clemson and he's in the national finals or semifinals every year, and I get all that. Listen, if Justin Herbert played on Clemson the last few years, the results would have been the same. I don't think differently there. So, I would be most excited to get that job. Yeah. Plus, you got some defensive pieces in place.
Yep.
There's a few receivers that you can, of course, Keenan Allen, and figure out what you want to do with Mike Williams, and you can play with that aspect. So I think there's a lot of positives there. But we know what Herbert is already, and I think Trevor Lawrence will be a superstar. I think he's very similar to Herbert. I would go I think Herbert's a hair better thrower than Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is a better athlete than Justin Herbert. That's how I kind of view it. And not to say either one is too far behind in either category there.
Right.
But Herbert is so special that I sit here and go, Chargers, start the arms race.
Yeah.
Go all in on offense in LA and steal the show and get signed receivers and go Kansas City in the division on Kansas City.
And go get who is your head coach.
And I want to say, get Brian Daboll. Listen, I love Eric Bieniemy. I love him, and he has to be a head coach this year. I'm not a fan of let's take a coach from one of our rivals and now bring him into our division. Like, tell me when in the history that's really worked. We're going to copy the team in our division, and now we're going to one-up them with one of the guys that learned from the guy over there. I don't see that. I don't know.
But you also have all that knowledge that he has of the team you're chasing.
I'm going to go with the teacher to win those matchups, though, more times than not.
Yeah.
The teacher taught the pupil, and I just trust that more. I wouldn't mess with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's my Bill Parcells to Hanley. What the hell is Ray Hanley?
Yeah.
Where I want to go.
I'll ask your dad about that.
Yeah, right. Not the greatest. I don't like that in division thing. To me, I would go Daboll, Chargers. Now we have a different offense. Andy Reid doesn't know our offense and doesn't know what to expect, and we have our own style and things like that.
And he seems to be more attached to Josh's development than Mahomes' development, giving credit to Bieniemy, whether it's right or it's wrong.
Yeah,
right.
I think you're right. I think you are right. Yeah. You're talking about with. I'm
talking about Daboll.
Yes.
His star has become brighter as Josh has gotten better.
You're right.
Maybe more so than Bieniemy's because Andy Reid gets so much
credit.
Andy Reid got the
Bieniemy. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Was Daboll in New England when you were there?
He was there with me just towards the end.
Okay,
right?
So like best thing about him besides the incredible way both those offenses play.
Yeah, no, I think he is just, I think the best way he's just a man's man, a normal guy. There was never pettiness or politics when I was in a room with him, which I always appreciated.
Yeah.
Listen, there was coaches up in New England who they wouldn't talk to me, they didn't like me. Then I said I was leaving, and they were like, "Oh man, it was great working with you.
Right.
We had I wish we could have spent more time." And I'm like, "No, you were
what?
competing and jealous of me, and you treated me like an ass." Daboll was always great. Like always, the same guy, not threatened, comfortable in his own skin, trying to learn ball, and easy to talk to. Right. And I think that's why you see Stephon Diggs has a change in his career.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, and you're talking about his development. Yeah, that's directly with Daboll.
Right.
He's taught them football, offense, how to act on and off the field, and how to just man up. Like, we played like shit. Sorry, we'll be back next week.
Right.
And not make excuses. That's what I love about Daboll. If I'm the Chargers, I'm going all Daboll.
So a few years ago, I was doing the preseason games with Trent Green for the Chiefs, and Brian was there. I think he was the offensive coordinator. If he wasn't, he was working somewhere high with the offense.
Right.
But I went to Kansas City to spend a day there to get to know the team, and it was that day in June, the last day of minicamp before the coaches get 4 or 5 weeks off. They get time with their family, and they were all packing up, going somewhere. They were out the door as soon as they could.
Right.
Brian knew that I wanted to sit down with him and really kind of talk personnel, what he was going to do scheme-wise, because it would really help me. What does he care? But it would help me with the preseason games. He stayed later than all the other coaches to spend an hour and a half with me, running through personnel, running through, here's what we're going to be looking for in the preseason. So like you say, he's a man's man. Guys will like him.
Right.
My 2 hours with him lines right up with that.
That's what I mean. It's just, the respect for human beings that comes off. You see that.
Right.
He's earned his way. Yes, it's the New England offense, but he's got his own style and just his own spin on what he's done with it. His time in college at Alabama, all of those things. He's taken away a little bit of everything to where, it's the New England offense, but it's got more to offer that way. And he's on fire as a play caller. I love Eric Bieniemy. Like I said, if I'm the Houston Texans, I'm going Eric Bieniemy. Yeah. That's where I'd want him.
It's fun to think about him with Deshaun.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just not a big fan in let's steal a coach from within our division think that we're going to be better than the team that was in our division that we're stealing this guy from, and they were already the Kings.
Right.
I don't know if that works.
All right, let's get to Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. We have a theme for everything here, Chris. This is the NFC East Edition. of Give Me the Headlines. Let's start with the Giants beating the Cowboys 23-19.
Big and blue. Damn.
Right? Very well done.
Man.
Yeah.
Big and blue. That's what we are. Damn it. Big blue was big.
The nonverbals are good there.
Blue.
Selling that.
Damn.
Yeah. Almost. It was almost an awesome Sunday for those guys,
It really
right?
was. It was fun to watch at 1 o'clock. It really was. I enjoyed it. It was great to root for the Giants in a meaningful game like that.
Yeah.
Especially against the Cowboys, all of that.
Yeah.
Really were the better team on the field throughout yesterday. It was giant mistakes that let the Cowboys hang around. I mean, Daniel Jones and Gallman mess up a handoff.
Yeah.
You know, Evan Ingram has a ball that goes right between his hands. It's going to hit him in the face. Interception. You know, but again, Giants, I know it's 6-10 and it's nothing to write home about. But I'm excited about the direction the Giants are going in.
End of the season was much better than the beginning and middle. That's something to feel good about.
I think so, definitely. And Daniel Jones made some big plays yesterday, playing through, hurt, made some big throws to Slayton and Dante Pettis. But the story of the day was the defense. And a little bit of what we talked about. The defensive line.
Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams, 3 sacks. They're going to have to show him the money for sure. And again, this is why, lately, I really think football is going this way with the Giants and their defensive approach. It's for games like yesterday. It's going to show true. I think size is about to become more of a factor in the NFL once again. We're seeing the ground and pound approach on the offensive side of the ball. And when you have some of these high-octane offenses like the Cowboys yesterday, that's why I took the Giants to win the game. I just thought their big dudes up front, again, they're 300 across. It's 305, it's 340, it's 315, and then it's 305 again across the board. I thought maybe they could handle the run game by themselves, and then they could play too deep and stop the pass game and all those Cowboys receivers. And they were really the star of the day because Zeke never got going.
Right.
They continued to be able to play coverage and not worry about getting on an island against those wide receivers. And that D-line really helped them win the football game.
I know what the topic is going to be coming out of Philly here. Washington beats the Eagles 20-14. I'm curious what your specific headline is going to be as it relates to the number one topic there.
Tanks for the memories.
No H?
Nope.
Just
tanks. Tanks for the memories, because that was the first time we have gotten to witness a real live national tanking in the NFL.
And then that's my reaction too. We don't see many firsts, but that was the first time you're watching. You're like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening.
It's happening.
This is what we're watching.
Yeah.
And then it becomes, what was it for? Was it for just for the draft picks? Is there something in the quarterback dynamic there with Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz that came into play? Was it the head coach? Was it the front office? Does somebody in the front office hate the Giants that much? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I mean, I'm sure they hate the Giants.
So the Giants thing is off the table.
I don't think that's that. That to me would be a little petty,
I agree.
But I know, but you never know.
Come from on high.
You're right.
Okay.
The NFL.
Let's remove that.
There's plenty of petty people.
So then
in the NFL.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's remove that. We have the allure of the draft picks moving from 9 to 6. We have, and I don't think this is being talked about quite as much. We don't know what's going on with Carson Wentz and who supports him and who doesn't. Jalen Hurts, who supports him, who doesn't. Maybe there was something there playing a big factor too.
Well, okay. First, I think the last two things I think are true. This is kind of what I hit on a little bit this morning with Florio. First off, hey, first round picks, top 10 picks, they have value. I mean, they're real assets. And every pick that goes up has a little bit more value as far as the assets that would be needed to get to that spot.
It's an easier way to go from 9 to 6 than it would be to give up a bunch of draft picks and players.
Well, definitely. I mean, in a lot of ways. So here's the dilemma, and this is really the big conversation. A lot of teams don't want to do those type of games because they don't want to start to infuse we're losing.
Right.
They don't want to have that. The coach is always banging the drum. We play every game, we compete and do all those things. And when you deliberately lose a game, guys walk away and go, wait, coach said we were going to do this, and this all week. Did he lie to my face?
Yeah, right.
So you're going to have those questions. That's why a lot of you wouldn't see a lot of big-time coaches do that because I think they're afraid of that creeping into the building and, maybe my message gets lost and all of those type of things. I think that's that fear. Now, Doug Peterson, I don't think he fears it as much because, one, I think he's an amazing communicator. He's got a great feel for the locker room and guys and things like that, to maybe that emboldens them a little bit. And, really the reality too is, three picks is a big deal.
It's a big deal. Yes,
it's a big deal. What if next year in the draft, we get into it, we're getting the evaluations, and let's just say the Eagles need a big-time defensive end, right? And you're sitting here and we're doing the draft, and I'm going, man, this defensive end he's like Chase Young. People are sleeping on him. So he's definitely going in the top 5 or 7 in the draft. It's going somewhere in there.
Right.
What if Philadelphia's sitting there going, man, we need a defensive end so badly, which they do, actually.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm throwing it out there. And now you go, oh, he went at number 7 and we're number 9.
Right.
Why? To win the Washington game, week 17?
Right.
Is that worth it?
Yeah.
So they're playing the long play. I'm not mad at Philadelphia for what they did. They got to do what's best for them.
I think people are just shocked that they actually saw it.
It's because it's the first time in NFL history we're
Right.
seeing it. It was in a national televised game.
Right.
And it was a game that meant something for multiple teams.
Right.
So it was like, whoa, I can't believe it. And it pissed me off sitting there as a viewer. My little boy, Philip, he flipped.
Yeah.
He's rooting for the Giants.
Yeah.
Oh,
what was your explanation in the moment about it? When he looked at Dad and said, what the hell's going on?
I told him about the draft picks first. I didn't even get into the Jalen Hurts thing because I think first off, now to go to that, I just told him about the draft picks. I just said that they don't care. I said, I think they want to have a higher draft pick. That's what they're worried about.
Yeah.
No, I do think the quarterback thing had something to do with this. No doubt.
I need some details on the quarterback thing.
Well, the quarterback thing between Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, and they're going into having the most interesting offseason maybe in football because of this conversation.
Right.
And I think they knew that if they won with Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts wins that game and pulls it out and has another pretty impressive game, which it looked like he was on that way, that they were going to be back to him in a corner where, no, Jalen Hurts is going to be your starting quarterback. The Philadelphia fans are not going to take it, and I think they still want to salvage something with Carson Wentz.
You think Carson wants to?
No, and he shouldn't. Bye. See ya.
And so shouldn't the organization know that too?
I'm
he
sure,
doesn't want to come back?
I'm sure they know a little. They're scared right now. They saw the report that, Mort yesterday, Chris Mortensen? He talked about Wentz and, wanting out of town. I think he made a quote that the fractured relationship between Wentz and Peterson. Listen, Wentz has to get out. Sorry.
Right.
I don't know what other way to say it. If I was advising Carson Wentz, I'd tell him to get out. He's in a no-win situation. Like, there's nothing between the Foles, this right here. This is going to continue to linger into the offseason. If he does come back and is the starter, as soon as he throws an incompletion, everyone's going to want Jalen Hurts back in there. It's just a marriage that's not going to work.
Right.
And if I'm him, this was the last straw. You got Jalen Hurts or whatever you want to do. I've had enough. Get me out of here. And he needs a fresh start.
You think draft picks moving from 9 to 6 and also grasping at a last straw. We don't want this kid coming back and leading us to a win in the last game because we still want to bring back Carson Wentz?
Carson Wentz is their guy. I mean, Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson made trades to get the number 2 pick, and they've given him a ton of money. So they want that to work.
But they've also seen him have more turnovers than any quarterback in the league.
I know. Well, I'm sure. Listen, it wasn't a good year.
Yeah.
But just as we've said, it was a shitty team too around him in a lot of ways. They've also seen him play at an MVP level and carry the team last year with a shitty team. So
we have too.
I know, right? Yeah. So that's where I don't think their belief. I believe the reports when I hear like, oh, they just think it was a blip year, like a bad year, a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
And he's going to bounce back. But I just think there's too much damage has been done.
Right.
And I don't know. I think it's too much for Carson. And if I were him, I'd want out of there and a fresh start and just not have to deal with, the controversy and the noise anymore.
Controversy, man, all caps.
Yeah.
Coming out of Philadelphia
no
after
doubt.
that one. All right, damn okay. NFC playoff edition. So we have hit the AFC. Do we get to listen twice to the damn okay?
Oh, let's not. Let's not, okay? All right,
okay.
Thank you.
That's 2 votes against it. Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Buccaneers beat the Falcons 44-27. Boy, a month ago, we're wondering if this team is going to even come close to the playoffs. And now, who's better in the NFC? Green Bay?
That's it. Maybe. That's it. And that's like a maybe. I don't even know. Okay, I'd probably take Green Bay today if they had if you made me bet on who comes out. But But I think the Buccaneers are in the conversation for one of the best teams in football.
And the damn okay is specifically to Tom Brady.
I mean, because holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's amazing. You know, the comfort, the way the offense looks. I can really sit here and go, I mean, I don't know. Other than Buffalo, I think this might be the most explosive offense in football the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Wow.
And I know Kansas City's right there in that conversation too.
Right.
But, I mean, it's every game, every quarter right now where you're just going, Brady bombed to Gronk, Brady bombed to Evans, Brady bombed to A. Brown,
midfield to downfield.
Right.
Since the bye week in early December, they've won 4 in a row. Remember how bad they were before the bye week? They lost 3 out of 4. The 38-3 debacle against New Orleans was in there.
Right.
But in this 4-game win streak, Chris, they've gone 26, 31, 47, and 44 points.
Yeah, their offenses, they got it. It's one of the best offenses in football. They have figured out how to play with him. He's comfortable. They're protecting him unbelievable. He's throwing the ball as well as he's ever had in his life. And the crazy thing is, like, he has that scramble to the right throw to Antonio Brown, where I don't think he was throwing to Antonio Brown.
So
he's throwing to Scotty Miller in the back of the end zone, who's also going to catch it. So it wasn't like it was a bad throw. He had him.
I think we have that.
We got that play. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So all right, here we go. You'll see Brady first off scrambles out to the right. All right. You see Scotty Miller in the back of the end zone. He is throwing to him, but Antonio Brown, who's running the first of the 2 posts there, he kind of is in the area and sees the ball, and he just goes, attacks it, and gets it. I think the most impressive thing, though, is Brady runs better now than he did in 2013.
He's moving around in a different way this past month.
He's not like a gangly deer anymore.
Yeah.
Like, he's actually got coordination and a little bit of explosive nature in his movements.
At 43, that's supposed to go the other way.
I know. It's amazing. It's amazing what he's doing, the level he's playing. They're dangerous as hell. I don't worry about their offense one bit. I do worry about their defense.
Which part of it?
I mean, all of it. I just think moving the ball has just been too easy. They can't rush the passer quite the way I thought. You know, they have moments of their secondary making plays, but, man, they have moments, too, where they get diced up and everything there, too. So it is going to be about Brady and that offense winning games for them and continuing to put pressure on the opposing teams.
They got some pretty good news about Mike Evans today. Remember, he dropped that touchdown, looked like, ooh.
Yes.
You fear the worst about that knee. No ligament damage, so they're hopeful that he can play this weekend, too.
They need him. I mean, we know that. He's a special football player. He's a red zone nightmare. He's a game plan changer nightmare for the opposing defense.
How about this? First player to hit 1,000 yards in 7 consecutive seasons.
Yeah.
Or each of his first 7 seasons. That's amazing.
I know. He's one of the most underrated great quarterbacks, great wide receivers of our era.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's just 6'5", 225, ran 4.37. You know, been down on a team that hasn't got a lot of national attention.
Right.
But has been one of the 5 best receivers in football probably for the last 4 years and is continuing that.
So it's Buccaneers and the Washington football team on NBC Saturday night
at
8:15. Should be a good one. I know
you'll
be here watching all of it.
Yep.
Jalen Ramsey also showing up on the NFC damn okay. Rams knock off the Cardinals 18-7, and he was up against DeAndre Hopkins a lot.
Best corner in football in 2020 was Jalen Ramsey for me. I know Xavier Howard had the interceptions and all of those things.
We have the route tree here. Take a peek there.
Yeah, let's check it out. Well, first off, I mean, that's one thing that's concerning. Again, as we talk about Arizona, it's limited. I mean, does he go to the other side of the field ever? I mean, that just shows
like
you.
It. Yeah.
That Arizona's offense has to grow. Okay? All right? And then this guy's a freak. I mean, I don't know. It just, okay, hey, cover DeAndre Hopkins, cover DK Metcalf, shut them down. It's okay, no big deal. They're just 2 of the freakier guys on the planet. Oh, okay.
Nope.
Jalen Ramsey got it all. He's got the physicality at the line of scrimmage, the straight-ahead speed to where he doesn't have to overrun to keep up with those guys. Because when he does put on the brakes, he can do that. He's a phenomenal tackler. He brings attitude to their defense, which I love. He's one of the best players in the game. They're getting their return on their investment there for sure.
Shadowed Hopkins on 21 of the 28 routes, and he had 2 catches for 28 yards, 7 targets in that time.
Big time. Big time. I mean, they quite arguably have the best defensive lineman and the best secondary player in football in the same damn team.
Right.
Yeah.
Any quarterback comments you want to make about either one of the teams there?
Well, it was Strugglesville there early on. I mean, it was. Streveler, good athlete. I see the talent. He's got a little pop in his arm. Man, that interception pick 6 was huge.
Wow.
That was the backbreaker. They were kind of in control of the game, and you felt like, okay, this is going to go down to the end, and they have a little momentum, and let's see how this goes. They're in field goal range. Little blitz off the edge, and I just don't know what he was thinking or throwing there to the right.
It was so bad, it was hard to tell.
It was. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's like, did the receiver run the wrong route? Did he just have a brain fart or did he just panic? I don't know. But that was the game-changing moment. Wolford, I'll say, after the pick on the first pass play, did some good things. I'm not going to say I'm blown away by what he did, but he showed he can execute the offense. He showed he's a pretty good athlete. Really, his running was the biggest thing he did in the game. Moving the chains, helping them do some things like that. And, after that, first interception, he took care of the ball and threw some good balls here and there. So, not pretty, but the Rams are a run and a defensive football team. And if they got to play with Wolford again this week, that's okay. They can beat Seattle Seahawks with John Wolford. I do believe that.
I do.
I do. It won't be easy. It ain't going to be easy either way. Goff, Wolford,
Right.
Jim Everett, whatever they want to bring back, it ain't going to be easy.
Right.
But yes, with the style of play and how they match up with Seattle, I do believe they can do that.
Yeah, Rams Seahawks, the sandwich game there on Saturday.
Yeah.
4:40 on Saturday afternoon. Okay, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers lock up the number 1 seed. They beat the Bears 35-16. Did he lock up the MVP?
Of course he did.
Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes,
Josh Allen,
Derrick Henry.
I mean, I do think, of course, all of them deserve to be there in that conversation. I think with the way the year ended, I'd probably go Rodgers 1, Allen 2. I would. I mean, Allen ended the year on fire and making more wow plays maybe than anybody in football. I mean, Derrick Henry, we know how good that was. But when you just talk about consistent greatness, execution, wow factor, week in and week out, I think Rodgers was the man this year in football.
He had the caused me to ignore family moments there yesterday because he was 8 for 8, then 9 for 9.
And 10 for 10.
I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
He was 10 for 10.
Right.
And then he would have stayed perfect. He had the perfect post pass thrown, and it was dropped.
Can you believe that?
No,
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
So we were getting, I knew he was 10 for 10 at half, and I'm going, oh man, Rodgers on fire. He's got the MVP.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, and now we're getting ready. I come back out. I think I got my suit on or whatever, and I look at the screen, and I see that throw.
Yeah.
And someone goes, that was his first incompletion. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, that was his first throw of the half right there and all that. I mean, that was unbelievable. But Chicago took some chances yesterday.
Yes.
They knew they had to.
Yeah.
With the way Rodgers is playing, they're running the ball. If you remember the first Valdez-Scantling touchdown right up the middle.
That's what I've got on my mind.
It's him versus Denny Trevathan.
Yeah.
Because they're playing a defense where they're going, all right, it's third and short.
Yeah.
We're going to take a chance, and we're going to think they're going to throw it short.
Right.
And they kind of played that. They played like, we think you're going to throw slants or crossers over the middle, and Rodgers is almost unstoppable, so we're going to have to do something a little crazy here. And Rodgers is too smart and was like, wait,
Exactly.
but you're man-to-man with him, zoom,
I'll
touchdown.
take that.
Right.
I think he doesn't get enough credit because he's so gifted and his numbers are so good.
Yeah.
It's easy to talk about the other things, and it's easy to fault the Bears. I think a lot of people are saying, like, how could you put a linebacker on that inside slot receiver? But these things happen, and quarterbacks don't always recognize them.
Exactly.
But defenses get away with it.
Right.
They take those chances because sometimes they get away with it.
They do.
Forget about the talent. He doesn't let the defense get away with
Very
that bad
rarely.
decision. Right?
You're right. Very rarely does he let you get away with I'm going to roll the dice type coverage to where I might not cover this guy because I don't think you'll really notice it, and I'm doing something so crazy back here that you wouldn't think we would do something like that.
Right.
And you're right. He never misses those opportunities.
I mean, how many times did you have a film session? I'm not like pointing at you and your career. I had the same thing in my very pedestrian career. But how many times the next day were you watching and be like, how did I not see that?
I know, right.
Why did I not see that the linebacker was on my best receiver? But it happens.
It does.
Just not to him.
It does. And that's what it takes sometimes to beat those type of teams when they're on fire with that quarterback. Listen, the week before, we talked about Atlanta did that to Kansas City a few times, where I think if they played again, they would tear Atlanta up. But they did some stuff where it's like, wait, they can't bring that blitz and then not cover that guy. That's not sound. That doesn't make sense. My coach never told me a defense would do that. But they roll a dice on a quarterback like that. And, Yeah, that happens, but he never misses it. And, honestly, Paul, I've never talked to somebody who has knowledge of Rodgers or been around him who just doesn't awe about his smarts.
Right.
I mean, they're in awe. The thing I hear more times than not about Aaron Rodgers is he's usually the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And I think it shows in the football field, too.
My eyes have gone to, when I'm watching them, I love watching him throw, but the second they break the huddle, I like it when they focus on him because you can see where he's looking and kind of what he's sizing up.
Those big eyes, and he's already,
As soon as that plays out of his mouth, you know exactly. He's like, okay, what are they doing over there?
No doubt.
Over there? Okay.
He's so comfortable right now.
It's awesome to watch.
Yeah, I think between LaFleur, Nathaniel Hackett, what they've built around him, they've given him answers for everything. They've made him feel good that no matter what the defense does, we got an answer. And, if we don't got an answer, then get to one of your magic audibles and you'll figure it out. And I just think they're in a spot right now, a little bit like Buffalo, where I go, they seem almost unstoppable right now in offense.
Feels that way.
It does. I mean, just between him throwing and the run game and everything, it seems like it's damn hard to stop.
Saints defense now is our next damn okay stop. They beat the Panthers 33-7, 5 picks.
Yeah, 5 picks.
Teddy Bridgewater kind of fell off.
No, Teddy. That's going to be an interesting offseason conversation too about where does that go? Do they want to stand pat with Teddy B? They're going to have a high draft pick. I mean, the Justin Fields conversation could be in play there. I would think.
I'd invest heavily in him as my backup. I would love to have him as my backup.
Exactly.
I don't know if I feel good about trying to win 11, 12 games.
I agree.
With him playing 16.
No, I agree. I just first off, there's too many moments like we saw yesterday all year with Teddy Bridgewater. I think where you just go, ooh, the game's good, and they're keeping pace, and then he makes the big mistake. And they were kind of doing that yesterday. The score of this game very misleading. Carolina moved the ball on them, but then he's got a double post. A lot of the play, like we've shown 2 double posts on our next gen stuff today. Double post, and he's got, I believe, Curtis Samuel on the underneath post, but he predetermined it, and he threw the second post, and Malcolm Jenkins is there to intercept it. Then he has another play where he kind of predetermines and thinks he knows the coverage beforehand. I think he thinks he's got man-to-man, and a man-to-man, I got 3 receivers to the right. I'm going to have an under route, and the inside of the 3 is going to run the corner route. He should be open against man-to-man. Well, no, it was a little combination zone pass-off.
Yeah.
And he just throws it up, and it was just an easy interception. I'm excited about Carolina's future. I really am. I think there's a lot of young talent there. Quarterback's going to be something to address, in my opinion. I'm with you there. And the Saints, I know we're not talking about them like Buffalo or Green Bay or the Chiefs right now, but they're still right there in that they're right on the edge. I don't feel as good about them as those other 3.
Yeah.
But I think they're right off that conversation to where I look at them and their defense and their playmaking ability, and I think Breeze looked pretty damn good yesterday again too, where I just go, I would be shocked if they're not a major player in the NFC playoffs.
They're kind of flying under the radar.
They really are.
Crazy as a number 2 seed, but as well as Green Bay is playing, they're getting a lot of respect right now. And then teams below them, the Buccaneers, the Seahawks, are much more discussed and maybe even feared right now than New Orleans.
It does seem that way. You're right. And I mean, again, what they did again yesterday without running backs.
Yeah.
That was okay. We got to play a receiver at running back. Early on in the game, Carolina was blitzing them a lot because I think they were like, I don't think this guy knows how to pick up the blitz or all the rules or all that type of stuff. But their offensive line so special. I think that's the one thing that always jumps out to me about the Saints right now. And, they're ready to go. I like the Saints football team. I would expect them to beat the Bears this week and make a serious threat to go to the Super Bowl.
And that's the mid-afternoon game, 4:40, Bears and the Saints coming up on Sunday. One more damn okay, and it used to be when we were talking Seattle, it was always Russell Wilson this, Russell Wilson that. Seahawks defense getting highlighted here. They beat the Niners 26-23.
I mean, it's the greatest 180 in football this year, maybe. It went from the first 10 weeks of this team is all offense, and the defense sucks, to we've gone the last 6 or 7 weeks where I go, offense is just okay, and the defense is phenomenal.
Look at this. First 8 games, Chris.
Yeah.
30 points per game. They were 30th in the NFL scoring defense. And we were saying, hey, if they could just get that down in the 20s, somehow they could be really, really good. Last 8 games, 16, best in the NFL. Wow.
I would think they're at the top of the list in just about all statistical categories on the defensive side of the ball the last 5-6 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
I really would. Doing it in a lot of different ways, too. I mean, really, great disguises, great feel for when to take a chance. They've gotten really good at what I call the blitz change thing, where to me this is this is the best thing I think I see really good defenses do. Just where, hey, it's a lot of people at the line of scrimmage, we end up rushing 4, but it looked like we were going to rush 6 or 7, and two dropped and 2 blitzed, and doing that to where it's just giving them enough of a schematical advantage, let alone their health here, and the addition, Jamal Adams getting better, and Carlos Dunlap, to where they're dominant. And they have times yesterday where they just whooped the crap out of the 49ers.
Right.
And they're on their offense, on the offensive side of the ball there.
Pete Carroll's a defensive guy, so he had a lot to do with that turnaround, going from really the worst to one of the best, if not the best. And NFC Coach of the Year, you look at him, you look at Bruce Arians, how they've come out of the late bye to play so well at the end of the year, and obviously Matt LaFleur. Which one do you like best there in the NFC?
So let's say that again. LaFleur, who else?
So I've got on this list LaFleur,
right.
Bruce Arians. I think should be on there because they've come out of that bye week where they were struggling so much in November,
right,
to be playing their best football right now, and also Pete Carroll. So those 3 in the NFC.
I got to go with LaFleur. Did you talk about? What did you talk about?
Just NFC.
I'm sorry,
Coach
I was
of the
thinking.
year.
I would
Just
probably
NFC.
go with LaFleur.
Okay.
I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, they're all awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ron Rivera could probably be in that damn list too.
Yeah.
I know it's really, I think, one of the most competitive years ever for Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
I mean, because even if you just think of total, you just go, well, I mean,
we're not even thinking about AFC.
I know Sean McDermott and Mike Tomlin and all he's done and all that. I'm going to go with LaFleur though.
Mm-hmm.
I am. LaFleur to me is the most underappreciated coach in football.
Is that because just Aaron's talent is so good?
I think so, but that's also why where I want to just go to self-correct everybody a little bit is but remember, this is the thing we're scared of when he was first hired. I was scared. Can he handle Rodgers? Can he handle the personality, the microscope you're under in Green Bay, right?
Yeah.
All of those type of things. But I think it's shown you he has tremendous people skills. And he doesn't have too much of an ego. That's the biggest thing to me, where he doesn't have to be like, no, it's my offense, I'm the play caller. He's perfectly fine. Fine, Rodgers, give him all the credit. That's cool.
And he has Aaron Rodgers' respect.
And he definitely does.
And that's
half the battle.
Not automatic.
No, you're right. Because I think that he's proven to Rodgers, like we just talked about with the Nathaniel Hackett thing, where they're like, these guys are smart. They know ball. So I can learn something from them, and it makes us a better football team. But LaFleur, I think, is the most underrated, underappreciated 26-6 coach I've ever seen in my life.
26-6.
That's insane.
Right?
It's insane. It really is. And I just can't say enough about him. He deserves a lot of credit. Pete Carroll's phenomenal. He's another guy that, he probably should have won this award a few other times altogether. Right. But them getting the defense together. And again, that game was scary yesterday. They were losing 16-6 in the fourth quarter.
It's a heck of a battle.
This is where I worry about them. It's become a little too Russell-centric in Seattle.
It's kind of how they've won the last couple of years, though.
I know, but it's just I don't know if they can get to the Super Bowl that way or win the Super Bowl. It can't just be, always about him just buying time and making a play and making the perfect throw on one-on-one coverage. It's just too much for me at times. There's got to be some more there to help the offense and just make it look a little easier. But the defense is phenomenal. And there they were, Paul. I mean, it's they finally take the lead 19-16, and the defense and Benson Mayowa get to the quarterback, and they make the big play to let the offense score one more time to go up and really end the game right there.
A couple of offensive notes here as we're talking damn okay. DK Metcalf, just over 1,300 receiving yards. Breaks Steve Largen's franchise record.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett, 100 receptions. That also set a franchise record.
It's a damn good 1-2 combination. I don't know how many yards Lockett ended up with, but they're a great complement to each other just because, one guy's a smaller, speed, quickness, can change direction. The other guy, we just split him out and say good luck covering him, and we'll see where it goes from there.
1,054.
Wow.
From Pete.
Man.
One final assist there.
A lot of offense this year in the NFL. A little too much offense for me. I can't lie. Too much offense.
It would be more fun with a little more defense, wouldn't it?
We set records
I
and points. We're seeing 40-plus touchdown passes. I mean, it was a little too easy this year, no doubt.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
That's going to bring our Monday to a close. We tried to kind of jump around and hit the big topics, the games that matter the most, as opposed to the normal deep dive on a few games that we would do on a Monday. I tried to keep it all to Sunday, but we did a little peeking ahead.
That's all right. That was good. We got to. That's what's coming up.
Right now.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to figure out what we'll do for the Wednesday podcast. So I'm going to do some deep dives into these games, especially the teams that are playoff bound, just to break down some things I like or didn't like and start to look at some interesting angles about the matchups coming up Sunday. I think that's where we should go. If you're listening to Chris Simms Unbuttoned, send in the questions. That's all I'm going to start doing. Tomorrow, we'll get done with Pro Football Talk. I'm going to sit down, start watching film and breaking down these matchups.
I might send one in too.
Yeah, cool. Please do. Please do. And tell me, that I don't know this, or you won't get this trivia, or blah, blah, blah. But either way, we're there. Playoffs, baby. Week 17. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Paulie B.
Good to see you.
You're the man. Thanks for coming in. I know you had a long week, lots of work.
All good. Want to be.
You're a grinder.
It's a good thing to be.
A grinder. All right. Peace out, everybody. Have a good week. We'll talk to you Wednesday. Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Simms Unbuttoned Podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.